Mike Weir's captaincy at the 2024 President's Cup has finally been revealed for what it was: a series of questionable choices that may have cost the international team their best chance at victory in years. The Canadian golf legend, once celebrated for his 2003 Masters victory, faced immense pressure leading the international squad on home soil at Royal Montreal Golf Club. But what started with high hopes ended with familiar disappointment for fans, as the United States secured their 10th consecutive President's Cup win with an 18.5 to 11.5 victory. When Weir was named captain for the event in Canada, it seemed like perfect timing. A Canadian golf hero leading an international team on Canadian soil had all the makings of a special moment. The President's Cup has historically been dominated by the Americans, who entered with a commanding 15-1 all-time record against the internationals. This gave Weir's leadership added weight. Could he be the one to finally turn the tide? Weir's journey as captain began with team selection, where he immediately made decisions that raised eyebrows. The international team had 6 automatic qualifiers based on the official world golf ranking: Hideki Matsuyama, Sungjae Im, Adam Scott, Tom Kim, Jason Day, and Byung-Hun An. For the remaining 6 spots, Weir had complete control as captain's picks. And this is where the first major controversy emerged. Weir selected Christian Bezuidenhout, Corey Connors, Taylor Pendrith, Mackenzie Hughes, Si Woo Kim, and Min Woo Lee. 3 Canadians made the team: Connors, Pendrith, and Hughes, marking the first time in President's Cup history that Canada had such strong representation. On the surface, choosing hometown heroes seemed logical. But then came the Nick Taylor situation. Taylor had enjoyed a remarkable year leading up to the President's Cup, winning both the RBC Canadian Open in 2023 and the WM Phoenix Open earlier in 2024. His victory at the Canadian Open was especially significant, ending a decades-long drought for Canadian golfers in their national championship and making him a beloved figure among Canadian golf fans. What made Taylor's omission more shocking was his ranking in the international team points list. He sat 12th, ahead of 2 of Weir's picks: Mackenzie Hughes, 15th, and Si Woo Kim, 14th. With his recent victories and higher ranking, many expected Taylor would be a lock for the team, especially for an event in Canada. When questioned about leaving Taylor off the team, Weir became emotional, acknowledging Taylor's strong performances, but pointing to a dip in his form after February. He claimed the decision was well thought through and based on a mix of analytical data and his own judgment. But this explanation did little to ease the disappointment among fans who felt Taylor's achievements, especially as a Canadian playing in Canada, deserved recognition. Weir's focus on specific skills like Corey Connors' ball striking and the putting abilities of Taylor Pendrith and Mackenzie Hughes might have made sense on paper, but it created an unavoidable narrative that he had passed over a national hero who had earned his spot through performance. But the controversy over team selection was just the beginning. The pivotal moment in the 2024 President's Cup came during Saturday's matches. After suffering a 5-0 deficit on Thursday, the international team staged a remarkable comeback on Friday, achieving an unprecedented 5-0 sweep in the foursomes to level the score at 5-5. This is where Weir made what many consider his biggest tactical error. In an unprecedented move in President's Cup history, he chose to field the exact same 4 pairings for both the Saturday morning 4-ball and the Saturday afternoon foursomes sessions. The pairings were Hideki Matsuyama with Sungjae Im, Taylor Pendrith with Adam Scott, Corey Connors with Mackenzie Hughes, and Si Woo Kim with Tom Kim. The result was disastrous. The international team lost both Saturday sessions by a score of 3-1, allowing the United States to build a commanding 11-7 lead heading into Sunday's singles matches. This critical loss of momentum proved impossible to overcome. Former major champion Rich Beem was particularly critical of this decision, stating bluntly that Weir lost it on Saturday by not altering the pairings. Beem pointed out the questionable choice of playing the 44-year-old Adam Scott in all 4 matches on Saturday, despite Scott himself admitting to feeling tired after the long day. Sky Sports commentator Paul McGinley echoed this criticism, suggesting that Weir had rolled the dice with his unprecedented tactic, ultimately paying the price as players appeared fatigued. The physical and mental strain of playing 36 holes in one day seemed to negatively impact their performance, not just in the afternoon session but in Sunday's crucial singles matches as well. Speaking of flexibility and making smart choices, that's exactly what FUBO gives the sports fans every day. With FUBO, you don't have to miss a single golf tournament or any other sporting event. Their extensive coverage lets you watch what you want, when you want it. Unlike Weir's rigid Saturday strategy, FUBO adapts to your schedule. Sign up today through our link and never miss another major sporting moment again. Another decision that raised serious questions was Weir's choice to bench experienced Australian player Jason Day for the entirety of Saturday's matches. Day had contributed to the international team's success on Friday as part of a winning pair, making his absence from Saturday's play puzzling to many observers. Day was one of 4 players who did not participate in either Saturday session, alongside Minwoo Lee, Ben An, and Christian Bezuidenhout. Weir explained there were no health concerns regarding Day, and that the decision was purely strategic, based on the momentum from Friday's performances. Here's where the contradiction becomes clear. Weir cited momentum as the key factor in his Saturday strategy, yet benched a player who had actively contributed to that very momentum. Even more baffling, Day was then placed in the opening singles match on Sunday against Xander Schauffele, a contest he lost decisively. Day's lack of play on Saturday likely left him less prepared for this crucial match, another tactical misstep in Weir's captaincy. The reaction from both fans and media reflected the mixed results and controversial decisions throughout the tournament. Fan sentiment, as seen on social media platforms and online forums, showed initial enthusiasm for Weir's appointment, especially with the event being held in Canada. The selection of 3 Canadian players generally pleased Canadian fans, fostering national pride. However, the omission of Nick Taylor, despite his recent victories and higher ranking compared to some of Weir's picks, created considerable disappointment. Opinions on Weir's Saturday strategy were particularly divided. While some might have appreciated the boldness of sticking with the same pairings after Friday's success, the subsequent losses and apparent player fatigue led to widespread criticism. Golf experts offered more analytical perspectives on Weir's captaincy. Rich Beam's strong criticism of the Saturday pairings and the handling of Adam Scott was widely reported. Paul McGinley also voiced concerns about the fatigue factor resulting from playing the same 8 players for 36 holes on Saturday. The prevailing sentiment among experts questioned the rigidity of Weir's strategy and his potential oversight of player fatigue. The contrast between the strong support for having Canadian players on the team and the criticism of strategic decisions highlights the complex and often conflicting expectations placed on a home captain. Weir's prominent status as a Canadian golf icon likely amplified both the initial national support and the subsequent scrutiny of his leadership. When things began to go wrong, the criticism intensified precisely because the expectations had been so high. In the end, Mike Weir's captaincy of the 2024 International President's Cup team showed moments of promise but ultimately resulted in familiar disappointment. The remarkable comeback on Friday provided a glimpse of what might have been, but questionable decisions regarding team selection and Saturday's strategy proved costly. The omission of Nick Taylor from the team and the unprecedented approach of using the same pairings for both Saturday sessions were decisions that faced the most scrutiny. The choice to bench Jason Day for all of Saturday after his Friday success also raised valid questions about Weir's judgment. While Weir will always be respected for his playing achievements, particularly his Masters victory that inspired a generation of Canadian golfers, his captaincy will likely be remembered as another missed opportunity for the international team to challenge American dominance in the President's Cup. The pressures of leading on home soil perhaps led to decisions based more on emotion than strategic advantage. As the international team looks ahead to future President's Cup competitions, the lessons from Weir's captaincy, both what worked and what didn't, will surely inform their approach. Perhaps the most important takeaway is the need for strategic flexibility during the tournament, especially when faced with unexpected results. Sometimes the greatest strength in leadership is knowing when to adapt rather than stubbornly sticking to the original plan.